Welcome, dear friends, to the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast hosted by three gentlemen for whom the very wheel itself bends around. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Bill, Rob, and Rich.
And welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast. I am your humble host, Robert.
And I'm your very excited host, Rich.
And our third man, Mr. Bill, is actually currently feeding his child. He's having a midnight feeding over yonder in jolly old England. So he's here in spirit. He cannot audibly be here, but he's definitely here in our hearts.
I mean, he could audibly be here, but he chooses not to be.
Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah, but to be fair, he makes us get up early, so
yeah, I know. And then he
could stay up late.
He canceled on us this morning. I'll have to buy a new car. So I thought he took the train to work.
I thought he did too, because that's the only reason that it explains why he can beat me in a lot of games.
I think he's got like a 45-minute transit.
Yeah.
And on days that he doesn't record, he spends his lunch hour walking around.
Yeah.
Playing games too. So, what happens when you guys get to a game that needs a home console?
Well, Bill usually emulates everything, so
we at the Taviren don't condone emulations. He owns all the games that he emulates, just putting it out there.
I do.
Yes.
I do for sure. And when I don't, well, we just have to come to an understanding.
So, all right, 3 minutes in, and we've already tangented off into role-playing games. That's awesome. So,
well, kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I know. So today we actually have a double-up episode. We're going to go through Chapter 21, Listen to the Wind, and we're going to go into Chapter 22, A Path Chosen. So, are you prepared with your notes?
I am. I finished these chapters today.
Awesome.
Just to keep my mind fresh on them.
Excuse me. Now, are you using Audible, or are you what's your medium of choice for reading?
Audible.
Okay. I mean, I still got the book. I'm still flipping the pages.
I have the books. I could flip the pages, but I like listening.
Well, see when I go, I'll read the chapter, then I'll kind of skim the chapter a second time, taking notes as I go along, looking for passages to recite and all that. Wheel of Time news. Once they made that major bomb drop a couple weeks ago, there hasn't been really much news to speak of. Have you heard anything on the rumor front yet?
No, nothing yet. I mean, besides the one that you guys were kind of talking about last week, like just the joke. Was that a joke about the guy that was playing?
That was a joke that I thought was real, and I started to make jokes about it until Bill finally said it was a joke, so he sold it really well.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, that seriously happened? Like, I'm not seeing it anywhere, and already the series has had its first scandal.
Well, when he said, because he told us it had to do with white powder and dogs, but, I took that to mean the drug problem.
That's what I thought.
And I said, how ironic that our chapter is Dust on the Wind, and then that happens.
He's getting our hopes up with all these, jokes.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy as ever that it was false, and it was just Bill doing Bill things.
Yep. I'm hoping tomorrow is usually the Wheel of Time Wednesday or whatever.
Yeah.
What do they call it? I really want them to drop the news of who is going to play Lan.
Well, I'm thinking that since they went with a mainline actress for Moiraine, Rosamund Pike, and they went with 5 relatively unknowns for the younger Emmonsfield 5, I'm thinking they're going to go with named, veteran talent for both Lan and Tom. That's my theory. I mean, I have no idea who they're going with, but you think of the same way?
I'm hoping that would make really good sense for them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It drives the the viewership of that show whenever it comes out. I mean, here's my two guys for that.
Okay.
I would really like to see Gerard Butler as Lan.
He could be a good Lan. He could be a good Lan.
Yeah. And then Gerard Butler, or we talked about Sean Bean, but I don't want him to die again.
You don't know
So,
what happens
anyways.
to Lan. If you're going to
Well,
cast,
I know it
if you're
doesn't
going to
happen
cast
to
Sean
Lan.
Bean
At
as,
least I don't know it does.
you're giving him the death. You're giving him the death call.
I guess. But we'll see. I mean, I'm really hoping they do pick a well-known actor for this. I mean, even if they pick like Liam Neeson, he's not doing anything.
Liam Neeson's good. A little bit long in the tooth these days, but that he could do it.
He could do that.
What? Oh, did you hear the one rumor? This one's a little bit older, but about Tom Felton, the guy who played Draco Malfoy. He was seen in Prague, I think, working on his sword play.
Huh.
And that was, rumored to be, oh, is this going to be Dane Bornhold? The blonde hair and the white cloak kind of look that he can give.
I could see that.
Yeah, that would be a good part for
hate him anyway. So
he's not doing much either. So
yeah, he did have that stint a little bit on The Flash.
Was he in that?
Yeah, he played a doctor.
He was also in a TNT show, a murder mystery in TNT for a season or two, I think. But
so I mean, I don't like him.
No,
probably because of his deal in Harry Potter. But I could probably not like him in this show too.
Well, you know who else would make a good Dane Bornhold? Excuse me, I don't know his name, but the guy who played Joffrey on Game of Thrones.
I hate that guy too.
I heard he's been severely blackballed in Hollywood just because he's been so typecasted. He may be the nicest guy in the world, but that character was so universally hated.
True.
But
yeah, it happens.
It does. But he would be a good white. He'd make a good White Cloak too.
All right, so you guys heard it first. Here on the Tavian podcast.
Joffrey Baratheon is our first White Cloak, and Draco Malfoy. There you go. There's a duo for you: Draco Malfoy and Joffrey Baratheon, White Cloaks in training.
I mean, you might as well.
Yeah, I mean that would be great. They're both kind of young actors. They both already have the chop to play that dickhead kind of role. That would be a dream. That would be kind of a dream pairing for the White Cloaks.
Yeah, it gives us more reason to hate them because we're supposed to hate them anyways.
Yes.
So might as well. Because when you see them, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to hate these guys." I get that. I don't know why yet, but I hate them.
Do you have any casting dream thoughts for Tom? I think you had mentioned Robert Downey Jr. on an earlier pod, but anybody else crop up?
He would be really good, but let's face it, the cost for RDJ is pretty astronomical. I mean, he could be looking for his next project. But the thing is, though, with this Prime series, it's a long series.
Yeah, it is, and
so I don't think he'd be up for it.
He just got done one massive series.
Yeah.
Tom is a hard one to cast because you think of characters that look like him, but they wouldn't act like him, and you think the characters that would act like him don't normally look like him. So he might be a tricky one to kind of nail down. So
worst casting suggestion: Tobey Maguire
as Tom.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That would be the worst thing ever.
Unless he's like emo Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3, then God, I'm thinking of now. I can't even think of anybody. Like everybody I'm thinking of for Tom, I'm like, well, he looks like him, but doesn't act like him.
Yeah.
Or he acts like him, but he doesn't look like him. I don't know. Like Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson has the chutzpah and the charisma to pull off a Tom Maryland, and he's got the physical background to take. Because Tom is a physical kind of character.
Mel Gibson?
Yeah, why not?
Well, he's also crazy.
That didn't stop any. Have you heard the reviews on Joker so far with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, apparently they're going to be. It's really good.
Apparently he's already won the Oscar. Yeah, but So you want to talk? We want to talk crazy.
That's true.
Crazy and talented aren't normally opposing thoughts.
Okay. I got nothing. Like I don't know who we'd cast for that guy.
I know. So Rafe has his homework, at least with the Tom casting. We settled Lan and we settled a few White Cloaks for you, Rafe. But Tom, we're going to put on you, buddy. We hope you can bring that one home.
Yeah, I hope so. I just don't know. Can't think of anything. Like it's probably going to be an unknown one for that.
Maybe. I mean, if they do that, then they definitely need a brand name for LAN.
They would have to.
Yeah. So moving on, we didn't have any new reviews on Apple, but as Bill and I teased, or we all teased last week, we did have a YouTube kind of semi-review. I got it right here. It's from Simon Kelly, and it simply says, "Good pod. Have listened to other recent Wheel of Time pods. Harry Potter appears to have changed a generation." So thanks for the kind words, Simon. We'll keep up the good work, and we will do what we can to get more episodes out there. I know we're a little behind on the YouTube episodes. I think we're up to chapter 14 on YouTube, but we'll do what we can to pound the midnight oil to try and get those episodes out for our YouTube listeners.
I forget about that thing all the time. At least because I'm not in charge of that. I don't even know.
Well, I'm not either. Like I can put our audio out there, but Tyler was the one who takes care of the YouTube side. Bill says he can do it, so I think we might have to ask him to be our YouTube guy too, while Tyler is still working on real life things.
Yep, I'm just the commercial guy.
And you're our bona fide pitch man.
Yeah, I hope everybody really likes our commercial that I did, or at least the introduction commercial. I don't know. That took me a little bit to do.
Yeah, I tried one of those for the Mario Talk podcast, and it's like, all right, I'll do what I can. I'm not normally this talking to like you put talking to myself. So,
I mean, if you want me to do those for you, I can.
Well, yeah, I might have to see about that then.
It took me 60, well, not 60. It probably took me 15, 20 outtakes, but it felt like 60
Really?
to do them. Yeah. Because, I mean, I did try not to, be too over the top, but I did curse a bunch of times because I would start talking and I'm like, oh, this sounds really great. And then I would stumble and couldn't recover. And I'm like, crap.
As long as you said crap, if you said anything worse and then it got out, be like,
no. I said worse.
Hey, you might want to keep those files separate.
I did. Well, the good thing is, like, they delete it after you, like, if you want to record a new one.
Oh, okay. It overwrites the old one?
Yep, thank God.
Okay. See, yeah. Little pulling back of the curtain here on the Tavir end. We're a very transparent podcast. We share everything with everybody. So.
Yep, we do.
All right. So without further pause or tangents by either of us, let's get into our double feature today. So chapter 21, Listen to the Wind. One of those short kind of character building chapters. We get our first chapter from the perspective of the Emmons Field wisdom, Miss Almira herself. What are your thoughts on this chapter, Rich?
Okay, so with this chapter, I did like how they set up how she really felt about Moraine.
Mm-hmm.
Nynaeve basically does not like Moraine.
Yes, like
right off the bat. We
5 different reasons why.
Yeah. So she does not like the fact that she has come between and basically whisked away the Emmonsfield kids, we can say, the young ones,
mm-hmm.
and got them wrapped up in this, godforsaken war or whatever is going on with Aes Sedai. So she's freaking out about all this. She's trying to protect the Emmonsfielders, just trying to get them home.
It's her duty.
Yeah, that's her job as a wisdom. She's supposed to, but now she's separated from them. She can't figure out where they went. So she stumbled when she woke up the next day. She found her way up the river a little bit because she smelled fire.
Yes,
and she wasn't sure what it was. And she found Moraine, just doing stuff and Lan there as well, the warder, and she's spying on him. She just kind of watches him a little bit, trying to figure out, okay, is it safe for me to come out yet? Do I need to just see what's going on? Well,
before, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
Okay, I didn't mean to jump in there, but even before she comes across Moraine and Lan, I have a note here. She kind of reflects on the night before, and she did have an encounter with Trollocs. They were coming for her. Then that they stopped, and they appeared to have smelled the air.
Oh yeah.
And then they did a 180, and they just left her. And the first instinct is relief, like, oh my God, I'm not going to die right now.
Which is good.
which is good. But then her very next thought is, "Oh crap! They weren't after me, and they smelled exactly who they were looking for."
Yeah.
So she's always the one. The complexities in Nynaeve is that she has this rough, like kind of rugged exterior, but her true heart is just care and well-being of everybody, not just her or her loved ones or people close to her, but she really does care about everybody. I think when they were leaving Barillon, she wanted to go back and help the people at the Stag and Lion when it was on fire. She knew the logic behind why they had to go, but she was still upset because her instinct was to go help people. But this was another one of those where she's like, oh, they did a 180 and that can't be good for the boys.
Yeah. Now, the one thing too, people need to, if they're listening to this or reading this with us, try to get an image of what Trollocs actually look like. They're half animal, half human, if I'm understanding that correctly, right?
They could be beast-like. I think some have beaks, some have fur. They're just, it almost to me was like the scraps of leftover, whatever that were made into Trollocs.
Yep. So think of Trollocs basically as mindless drones, basically hunting by basic instinct. They know what they need to do. They know who they're finding. Yep. They know what it smells like. So to put that in perspective, Nynaeve is not their target.
Correct.
But when she's running away and then they all of a sudden they stop and they take off, that's a bad sign. Yeah, she's out of the woods and everything, but she knows deep down, like, well, that's not a good thing.
They caught the scent.
Yep. That means that's going to be trouble for whoever, they are looking for, really, because they don't know who the Trollocs are looking for. Like they don't know out of the three boys who's the important one.
They just knew of the three boys, not specifically which one, but one of the three. So I think they had the sense locked down of each of the three.
But I know.
Ooh. Well,
we're not talking about that.
No, we're not going to spoil it.
Yeah. Well, I know some of it. I don't know all of it. You guys know all of it.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Well, so like you said, she does come up on the camp that Moiraine and Lan had set up, and she eavesdrops a little bit on their conversation before confronting them. And do you recall what she's able to pick up before she reveals herself?
Yeah, she's basically listening to Moiraine and Lan talk about the boys, like where they're at. She's able to find. She's got one of them across the river, and she's got two of them that are down south that she can faintly find, but she doesn't know if they're there because it's fading away. So she doesn't know if that's going to be something they're caught yet or they're not. So that's her big thing with that.
And there was one other big concern that they were worried about.
They're also worried about if they were going back to find them, if the Trollocs were coming back to, try to find, if they did in fact escape.
True. I also have a note here that says that they were concerned why so many were so far south so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So, a fist maybe can make it south unnoticed or undetected. But
and the fist is like about 100, right?
About 100, led by a Kevin.
Yeah.
They guesstimated there must have been at least 1,000 Trollocs, and there's really no way that 1,000 Trollocs can make it out of the Blight, past the Borderlands, all the way south to the Two Rivers and such, without detection.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. And also I have a note here that Moiraine gives us our first mention of some entity known as the Ways. We have no idea what that is at this point, but it's mentioned for the first time, I think, right here.
Yeah, I don't remember them talking about it any other time but now. So, yep.
That's all we know is something called the Ways. So,
yeah. And Lan actually makes good points that he's very concerned with it because, the Borderlands would be overran if that kind of thing happened. Trollocs could all of a sudden appear out of anywhere and get into the larger cities without even anybody knowing by the time it's too late. So that's what his big problem with that is.
So we can kind of gather at this point that the Borderlands, Lan appears to be maybe from north in the Borderlands, but the whole point of the Borderlands is kind of like the first watch of Trollocs.
Yep.
Trollocs need to get past the Borderlands if they're trying to ransack any of the more like farms and cities and other metropolitan areas. They got to make it through this area known as the Borderlands. And Lan seeing so many without no notice from any of the borderland countries has him very not uneasy, because Lan doesn't get uneasy, but questioning what he needs to do next as far as how could this have happened.
Yep. And do we get to see a little bit of a glimpse of potential copying of R.R. Martin?
I mean, I know that the Eye of the World was written before Game of Thrones, which is the first book of Song of Ice and Fire. So any copying, I'm going to have to say would be Martin copying of Jordan.
Correct. And didn't he even say, though, I hate to bring these up, talking about Game of Thrones and everything, he even said he got inspiration from Robert Jordan.
Yes,
so
I think Martin even wrote some Robert Jordan fan fiction himself. I think that's I'd have to find that, but I believe that is the case. So
correct. So I just want to bring that up, and you could see the definite connection between the two, and how Robert Jordan was definitely a big influential person to a lot of people, a lot of authors.
Oh God, yes. So I mean, without even thinking, Martin, Sanderson, obviously, Patrick Rothfuss is another author I like. The Kingslayer Chronicles, I believe, is his series. But yeah, Jordan's reach is very ever spanning.
Yep. So now that we've talked about Game of Thrones, we'll probably talk about it again. But anyways, so we get past that, and all of a sudden, Moiraine looks directly where Nynaeve is, and just tells her, "Why don't you just come on out? Come on out here.
We have tea for you."
Yeah.
We have the beginnings of a friendly conversation between BFFs.
Yeah, you'd say that. One of them wants to kill the other.
And then I guess this is the scene where Nynaeve approaches Moiraine and gets to a certain point, and then lands like, "That's enough," and puts his arm out. And the line was like, she tried to move the arm, and it would have been easier to move an oak branch.
Yeah. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, and he's stronger. He's big, but even still, he's stronger than he appears.
Yep.
Now, that may or may not be, he may not be having, enhancements. Maybe he shoots out some roids. It's Wheel of Time speaking with his connections to Moiraine.
He does CrossFit.
The CrossFit.
Yep.
He gets his steps in, let's put it that way.
Yeah, probably. But again, it shows the protection that Lan has for Moiraine. Like the warder and his Aes Sedai. He will stand between anything to protect her.
Even angry petite women who are just happen to be walking up to her.
It's like poking a bear.
I got a note here says, why is Nynaeve so concerned about what Lan thinks of her? Including him finding out where she hid her horse. So that was another thing. She tied her horse like somewhere before she came upon the camp.
Yep.
And Lan went to go find her horse, and internally she's thinking, "Good luck finding that." And he comes back with the horse, and she's like, "Damn it, he found the horse."
Yeah, he's not stupid, and he's actually pretty good at what he does.
I know, but it's we know the answers, but like, why does she care so much?
I want to talk about that so bad, but I mean, we can't.
I mean, yeah, and I'll be honest. When I first read this, I was clueless until it became very blatantly apparent. I was just like, whatever.
Yeah,
we got other stuff to worry about. I didn't see that coming. I'll wholly admit that. Until it was very obvious, I was just like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Then I read it a second time, like, yeah, I should have seen that coming big time.
By now, people probably figured it out. Like, okay, I got what you're talking about. We're not going to say it. Well, so, what did you think of the conversation that Moiraine and Nynaeve had?
Well, I like the fact that Nynaeve is straight, blunt, to the point. What are you doing with the boys? Why are they with you? Why they get messed up in some Aes Sedai scheme? Then Moraine's being all calm and coy, like, sit down, I have tea. We can have tea and talk this over. And then she's like, no, answer my questions. Why? Until it finally gets to a point where Moraine's like, yeah, I've answered your questions. Now you can answer some of mine. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then Moraine's like, well, we both know you can channel. What?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too. You got to look at it. Moiraine did not even answer any questions.
Correct.
She basically skidded around all of that very elegantly and with a lot of gusto behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That is who she is. she could basically dance, and it's another reason why Tom Maryland says this: the words that an Aes Sedai says may not be the truth.
That's right. The truth you hear may not be the truth you think.
Yep, they're just that good,
and we don't know why they're always truthful.
Yeah,
that's another spoiler.
Anyways,
I love teasing, but it says, Moiraine tells Nynaeve that she can channel the One Power. Nynaeve is not listening, but admits to having the symptoms. That's the whole thing, was when, she denies that she can channel. Maureen's like, well, have you ever had something happen that was beyond reason, that you did some miraculous healing job and you can't explain why? Well, yeah.
It's because of the drugs.
and then recently, after this miraculous healing, you yourself become deathly ill. Yeah.
Because of the drugs.
She's able to heal quicker than normal medicine should be able to heal, and then shortly after she becomes deathly ill for a bit, and then Nynaeve goes into a little bit of a story about, it was Egwene, I think, that she healed. Egwene, I forget the exact name of the ailment.
I do. It's bone fever.
Bone fever. And the current wisdom at the time was like, she needs to make her peace. Her family needs to make peace. This is a sad time. And Nynaeve just happens to check her out, and all of a sudden she got better within a day or two, and no one could understand why. Now, that could probably be the fact that was one channeler trying to heal another channeler, so maybe they both helped each other out. But it
possibly,
but it fits the story. She healed this miracle healing. No one can experience. No one can understand why. Then 2 or 3 days later, Nynaeve herself became deathly ill. And even with these two facts still kind of staring her in the face, she's still in full denial mode.
Yep.
But the one thing that she does say, and it's the line used to end the chapter, she goes, "You know what? I am going to learn to channel, and I am going to learn to use the One Power. And I'm going to use it on you for revenge."
Yeah. It's a little intense.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. End the chapter.
Now, yeah. Let's go back real quick to that conversation again. So with that, the healing of, she helped Egwene and Perrin and various other people, in the villages as wisdom. She was, definitely well ahead of her time.
Mm-hmm.
She was put in charge of as being a wisdom because she was very skilled at what she did. People didn't understand what she was doing. They just realized that she was good at what she did. A lot of people did think that she was too young to be a wisdom, but they didn't really understand that she had the One Power to do that. Now, what's special about her healing of the people that she has, that puts her a connection to the I want to say victims or whatever. So think back to the chapter where all of a sudden Nynaeve just shows up out of anywhere at Baerlon.
Yes.
How did she find him? It's because of that connection that she has with Egwene or Perrin. Either one of them. Those two are at the barn, or at the what inn was that again? Was it the
Stag and Lion?
Stag and Lion. Okay. Those two were the only ones that were there at the time, and that's how she was able to find them. She made it right to them.
That is true. I mean, she kind of says it's because of her father's master tracking abilities that maybe got her to the city limits of Baerlon. But I think you have something there as far as how she was able to discern where in Baerlon they were.
Yep. And that's where Moraine's like, that's not normal.
Yep.
Like, that's not, you just can't do that. Normal people can't. You can.
One other thing about, that we heard about very early was that, and I mentioned this with Bill, Moiraine had referred to Nynaeve as child when they were all back in Emond's Field. And Nynaeve took exception to that. Right? That was like one of the things, they were like, oh, she called her child. Oh, God. Oh, boy. But you'll come to find out that Aes Sedai refer to beginners or novices of the One Power as child. So in the beginning, when she referred to Nynaeve as child, it was more or less her way of saying, yeah, I know what you're capable of. That's why I'm going to call you child. Yep. So that was like, it was one other burr in Nynaeve's side to make her not like Moiraine. and B, it was maybe for better part, lack of a better term, foreshadowing of what Nynaeve is capable of.
Correct.
So,
and she even makes comments about it, saying like, Egwene is probably going to be the most powerful Aes Sedai they've seen in centuries. However,
yes,
Nynaeve
right.
is going to be stronger than her.
So once again, it's Aes Sedai words. So she's going to be the best.
Who knows, but still,
but you'll be better.
Scary.
So that pretty much wraps up chapter 21.
Yep. So there was more going on in this chapter than there is in the next one. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, more character building. I have less notes, but more character building between Nynaeve and Moraine and Nynaeve and Lan. But anyway, chapter 22, A Path Chosen. I do like some of the humor. I do like some of the humor in this chapter too. This whole chapter is from his parents' perspective.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm going to give a dungeon. I'm going to geek out with a Dungeons and Dragons reference. I say Perrin has a strong nature rating because he's able to sleep hidden under a pile of branches. He's avoiding notice of Trollocs or Kebbins. So he was able to be able to be out in the woods and figure out a way to rest undetected. So that's good. That's good. That's a good nature rating for him.
Yep.
And then once again, as we found out, Perrin is not slow but deliberate. So he tries to weigh all his options. Does he get dry? No. Does he search for food? No. Search for Egwene? Yes. Perrin uses deductive reasoning to answer his questions to where Egwene would be, and he searched for her downriver. So, you can see the process, you can see the thought process since this chapter's from his perspective. And, he's not just randomly doing stuff, or he's not just slow and just doing whatever. He's, like I said, using deductive reasoning to discern where she is. And he's like, well, she probably went downriver. That's got to be my priority, is to find out where she is. And he made for her downriver. All right.
Yep. I do like that. I mean, it shows that he's able to, do what it takes and get there. And he's on a mission. He's just very driven.
Yeah. That's what he, it'd be nice to be dry. It'd be nice to have food, but no, he's got to make sure Egwene's okay.
Yep.
So, a little foreshadow here. I said, Perrin, the stealthy wolfman that he is, he sneaks from trees and bushes to avoid being seen. He saw hoof prints and deduced that they were actual horse prints because Trollocs do have hooves. Some of them have hooves, but he was able to track those hoof prints and discern that they were just made by horses. And I think what he said was the horseshoe prints had the extra strengthening. I'm not.
I forget what it's called, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the band across the horseshoe. That's his blacksmithing experience taught him that's something that's used for actual horses, for horseshoes. So when he saw those in the tracks, he knew this was a horse, not a Trolloc. And of course, he was able to track down Egwene, and then those horse tracks were, of course, the creator herself, Bella, as Bill would like to put her.
Yep, that'd be crazy.
Bella is the creator of all things. So,
the way it is.
So, Perrin comes across Egwene was found by a warm fire eating some food. He was all this time worried about how she was going to be, that he foregone getting food or getting dry. And he finds her, and she's dry and eating. So she was way better off than he gave her credit for.
That's true. She's just like, oh, I have a fire, everything else. I'm nice and warm.
Yep.
And then you look at Perrin.
Yep.
Or Perrin is just like, I'm freezing.
I'm freezing and hungry, yeah. And worried about you. So, like there's a little bits of humor in this chapter, and that's one of them. Like he was so worried about her, but she was fine. What are you worrying about? Totally. So, Perrin and Egwene have to figure out what the next plan of action should be. One thing that happened from this conversation is that Egwene actually asked for Perrin's opinion and waited for his answer. This kind of took Perrin back a little bit because he's used to being dismissed, or his ideas were not, that's just Perrin and we won't have to listen to him. But in this actual moment in time, Egwene is requesting his opinion and willing to weigh what he wants to say. So
basically, he has to,
yeah,
he has to be a leader.
Yeah, but he recalls how he knows how Two Rivers women can be, so that's more or less why he was like taken aback. So normally two rivers women give the men their opinion and expect it to be followed. That's how it goes. But once again, Perrin uses deductive reasoning and recalling her father's map back from the wine spring. Perrin recommends bypassing Whitebridge. That's the next town along the road, and would be the most logical location for them to go, which is what he's thinking how the Trollocs are going to think. So he's like, we can't go to Whitebridge. They'll be waiting for us there. He says, all together go straight out to Camelin. So, then he drew some lines and sticks in the string. Like, we're here. Whitebridge is here. We should go here to Camelin.
Yep. Let's go around that.
Yeah, we'll skip the obvious place and go to the next point of interest. And hopefully Moiraine is thinking the same way and we'll look for us there in Camelin. Then he gives his plan and he waits for Egwene to pick it apart and tell him why it's stupid and they shouldn't do it. But to his surprise, she says, "Yep, Camelin, that sounds right. Let's do it."
That's basically that's a good decision for them.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So I have a little note here that could this be a little bit of ta'veren at work? Because we know that some of the powers that they have that bend the wheel around them. So maybe Egwene got a little affected by the ta'veren there and said, "Yep, that's a good idea. Let's do it."
Oh,
that's my thought. Because he was sure as anything that she was going to say, "No, I want to do this," and he was ready to go. "Okay, we'll do it your way," but. Not only did she ask for his opinion, but she agreed with it right off the bat without question.
Yeah.
So that was my thought. A little ta'veren at work, but the best is the ending of this chapter, which cracked me up. It goes, after she gave Perrin some food, he asked for seconds, and she shot him down.
Yeah.
I love that. And then I guess the ta'veren was wearing off at that point.
Probably. I mean, you got to think of it too. He's probably really hungry. He is a big guy.
Yeah.
And he does need his food. But, he has the means to capture a rabbit.
He was so focused on Egwene. That was his first priority, was Egwene. So now that they're together, that's different. He can go hunting and all that. But I just love it. It was like, "You want my opinion? Oh, okay. I think we should do this. Oh, okay. You agree. All right. Hey, can I get seconds?" "No."
This has to last. Selfish boy.
I just love the way that he was all feeling himself. For just a smidge he was feeling so, because that's not how paranoid is, but for just a smidgen he was feeling himself, so he asked for seconds. He was like, poof, shot down. I love it. I mean, the brilliance of the humor is in its subtlety. Same way earlier in the chapter when Perrin's wet and hungry, worried about Egwene, and she's dry with a full stomach. And he's like, "I was so worried, and you're doing better than I am." So,
yeah,
I think it was a good idea on Bill. I'm going to say it. It was a good idea on Bill to double up these chapters because they're character building. They're two separate. We're starting to get our chapters that are not Rand centric.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see the internal thought process of some of these characters, like Nynaeve and Perrin, and we'll get the other characters down the road. But these are good, I don't want to say mini chapters, but they're good character building chapters with not a lot of meat on them. So doubling them up probably was the best bet.
I agree. I mean, It's, they needed to have these and, to kind of build up first with a chapter previously about how Nynaeve is really at war against anything Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
Explains how Moiraine knows about Nynaeve.
Mm-hmm.
And then having this conversation, you see the relationship between Perrin and Egwene, and you need to see that.
Yeah, I mean they've known each other all their lives, and it's always been strictly platonic friends. She's the mayor's daughter. He's the blacksmith apprentice. They know each other. They both have mutual friends in Rand and Matt, and he knew, and he also knows how Two Rivers women can be. So it was good character building to see the two of them nothing more than friends and concerned for their both well-beings on a friend kind of level.
Yeah.
So that will take us into our double feature of readings with Rob. For these chapters, it's a lot of just character building. So don't hate me on my voices too much. So.
Is this your first attempt at a woman?
Oh God, no! I mean, I've voiced Ma Rain. I've voiced Egwene and Nynaeve.
Oh, okay.
I have some ideas for some of the other women, but I haven't unleashed those yet. So,
do we still have Jamaican Land?
I think so. I haven't tried to, as much as Bill tried to influence me. I'm trying to not be influenced, and trying to make him sound one way or another. Just keep going the way I've been going.
Yeah.
Well, I love it because the one review mentioned, they asked if I was trying to be serious with these, and I'm like, no, not really. But the one I was trying to be serious was Lan, and boy, did that come out not serious.
Yeah, you got to watch. See, Bill tries to influence you on a lot of stuff because it's Bill.
Vulcan mind games, that guy.
Yeah, you got to watch that guy.
There you go, Star Trek reference in your Wheel of Time podcast. How about that?
Yeah, we're not all about Game of Thrones and Wheel of Time. We got other things in here. I haven't even once thrown a Final Fantasy reference in.
Yeah, he'll just randomly say Sephiroth, or when we talk about Rand's horse Cloud.
Oh yeah, holy crap, we haven't done that either.
We have. I think Bill and I might have gone there once or twice. Rand riding Cloud. That gets a little chuckle once in a while.
We should just occasionally throw in like those Sephiroth, the One Winged Angel song. Just occasionally we'd say that. Just Sephiroth, all of a sudden you just hear that. Yep.
Oh man.
We gotta, here at the Tavern podcast, everyone, we're not all about serious, things. We're also about goofiness.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Who's the composer for Final Fantasy? Uematsu, right?
Yeah,
and
I think so. Holy crap, I'm blanking too. I think that. Oh my god, we'll lose like half listeners because of that.
I know. I was going to recommend his music because some of his music is some not only just the greatest of video games, but some of it can work within the Wheel of Time too. Not that he wrote his songs for the Wheel of Time, but
Nobuo.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nobuo Uematsu. Nobuo Uematsu.
Right. You're good.
Thanks for the save, Rich. But all right. One tangent back into readings with Rob.
And now, the Tavern present to you Readings with Rob.
Chapter 21. Listen to the Wind. Suddenly, she put her cup down and sat straight up. "If you watch the wolf too hard," she muttered, "a mouse will bite you on the ankle." And she looked right at the tree behind where Nynaeve was hiding. "Mistress Almera, you may come out now if you wish." Nynaeve scrabbled to her feet, hastily dusting dead leaves from her dress. Lan had spun to face the tree as soon as Moiraine's eyes opened. His sword was in his hand before she finished speaking Nynaeve's name. Now he sheathed it again with more force than was strictly necessary. His face was almost as expressionless as ever, but Nynaeve thought there was a touch of chagrin about the set of his mouth. She felt a stab of satisfaction. The warder had not known she was there, at least. Satisfaction lasted only a moment, though. She fastened her eyes on Moiraine and walked towards her purposefully. She wanted to remain cold and calm, but her voice quivered with anger. "What have you meshed Egwene and the boys in? What filthy Aes Sedai plots are you planning to use them in?" The Aes Sedai picked up her cup and calmly sipped her tea. When Nynaeve was close enough, Lan put out an arm to bar her way. She tried to brush the obstruction aside and was surprised when the warder's arm moved no more than an oak branch would have. She was not frail, but his muscles were like iron. "Tea?" Moiraine offered. "No, I don't want any tea. I would not drink your tea if I was dying of thirst. You won't use any Emmetfield's folk in your dirty Aes Sedai schemes." "You have very little room to talk, Wisdom." Moiraine showed more interest in her hot tea than in anything she was saying. "You can wield the one power yourself after a fashion." Nynaeve pushed at Lan's arm again, and it still did not move. and she decided to ignore it. "Why don't you try claiming I'm Trolloc?" Moiraine's smile was so knowing that Nynaeve wanted to hit her. "Do you think I can stand face to face with a woman who can touch the true source and channel the one power, even if only now and then, without knowing what she is? Just as you sensed the potential in Egwene, how do you think I knew you were behind the tree? If I had not been distracted, I would have known the moment you came close. You certainly are not a Trolloc for me to feel the evil of the Dark One. So what did I sense, Nynaeve Almira, wisdom of Emond's Field, and unknowing wielder of the one power?" Lan was looking down at Nynaeve in a way she did not like, surprised and speculative. It seemed to her, though nothing had changed about his face but his eyes. Egwene was special. She had always known that. Egwene would make a fine wisdom. They're working together, she thought, trying to put me off balance. "I won't listen to any more of this, you must listen," Moiraine said firmly. "I had my suspicions at Emond's Field even before I met you. People told me how upset the wisdom was that she had not predicted the hard winter and the lateness of spring. They told me how good she was at foretelling weather and the telling of crops. They told me how wonderful her cures were, how she sometimes healed injuries that should have been crippling, so well that there was barely a scar, and not a limp or a twinge. The only ill word I heard about you was from a few who thought you were too young for the responsibility, and that only strengthened my suspicions. So much skill, so young. Mistress Baran taught me well." She tried looking at Lan, but his eyes still made her uncomfortable, so she settled for staring over the Aes Sedai's head at the river. How dare the village gossip in front of an outlander? "Who said I was too young?" she demanded. Egwene closed her mouth and stared at him with her jaw set. Finally, she said, "You want to go down river to Whitebridge? If Moiraine Sedai doesn't find us here, that's where she will look next." "I suppose," Perrin said slowly, "that Whitebridge is where we should go, but the Fays probably know that too. That's where they'd be looking, and this time we don't have an Aes Sedai or a warder to protect us." "I suppose you're going to suggest running off somewhere, the way Matt wanted to? Hiding somewhere the Fays and Trollocs won't find us? Or Moiraine Sedai either?" "Don't think I haven't considered it," he said quietly. "But every time we think we are free, Fays and Trollocs find us again. I don't know if there's any place we could hide from them. I don't like it much, but we need Moiraine."
"I don't understand then, Perrin. Where do we go?"
He blinked in surprise. She was waiting for his answer, waiting for him to tell her what to do. It had never occurred to him that she would look to him to take the lead. Egwene never liked doing what someone else had planned out, and she never let anybody tell her what to do. Except maybe the wisdom, and he thought sometimes she balked at that. He smoothed the dirt in front of him with his hand and cleared his throat roughly. "If this is where we are now, and that is Whitebridge," he stabbed the ground twice with his finger, "then Cambly should be somewhere around here." He made a third mark, off to the side. He paused, looking at the 3 dots in the dirt. His entire plan was based on what he remembered of her father's old map. Master Alver said it was not too accurate, and anyway, he had never mooned over it as much as Rand and Matt. But Egwene said nothing. When he looked up, she was still watching him with her hands in her lap.
"Camelin?"
She sounded stunned. "Camelin." He drew a line in the dirt between the 2 dots. "Away from the river and straight across. Nobody would expect that. We'll wait for them in Camelin." He dusted his hands and waited. He thought it was a good plan, but surely she would have objections now. He expected she would take charge. She was always bullying him into something, and that was all right with him. To his surprise, she nodded.
"There must be villages. We can ask directions."
"What worries me," Perrin said, is what we do if the Aes Sedai doesn't find us there. Like, who'd ever thought I'd been worried about something like that? What if she doesn't come to Camelin? Maybe she thinks we're dead. Maybe she'll take Rand and Matt straight to Tar Valon. Moiraine Sedai said she could find us, Egwene said firmly. If she finds us here, she can find us in Camelin, and she will.
That was Readings with Rob. If there's a passage in an upcoming chapter you wish to have read on the podcast, simply tweet us at TavirenPod with your request.
All right, and there was a Reading with Rob, and if you had paused and checked out some of the music by Nobuo Uematsu, so Bill doesn't shoot us for messing that name up.
Oh my God, he's going to edit this. He's going to yell at us tomorrow.
Yeah, he will. So next week we have a good chapter. We meet another character of the pattern in a chapter known as Wolf Brother.
Oh, I like this chapter.
So hopefully Bill's not going to come in singing any Wolf Mother songs, is he?
Oh, God. You know you just did that, and now it's going to happen.
He was singing the REM song on this podcast, referencing a game he was playing on your podcast. So now he's going to go look through the Wolf Mother catalog and sing us some Wolf Mother songs.
Great. Oh, well.
So if you haven't already, please rate and review us on Apple iTunes. It gets us more notoriety, which in turn gets us more resources to be able to give you guys a better quality podcast. Rate and review on any kind of podcasting app you have. We got the YouTube. I think there's Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, everything. Twitter, #TavirenPod on Twitter. I see that we're getting a lot of shout outs when people are blasting the #Twitter time, asking for podcast recommendations. We're getting put on those lists. So thanks.
Sweet.
I know. Thanks so much to the Twitter of Time community for including us. It really does matter to be part of this great community.
Yeah. Consider the fact is, we just started podcasting this show
April.
A month ago?
April, 4 months.
Oh, 4 months? Holy crap. Okay.
Did you say 1 month?
I thought we were just...
We're like on our 20th episode, dude.
Yeah, we are. Okay. So we've been doing this for a couple months now. I am still very new to the Wheel of Time, world. I've read the first 2 books.
Yep. That's why Bill and I have to watch ourselves when you're around.
Yep. But that's the beauty of it is I love the series. It's a great world that Robert Jordan has created.
Yeah,
has brought a lot of people here. I mean, this series has been out for how many years?
I think the first book was from 90.
Yeah, and it's still bringing people, joy, and they're really enjoying it. The TV show's coming. I mean, it's going to be, a big deal for everybody. And if you really want to take the time to follow us as we take this journey down these 14 books. There's
one point that you kind of glossed over it a little bit about how rich and lush this world is.
Yeah.
And I realized this just the other day. The entirety of Westeros in Game of Thrones, the entirety of the entire world of Westeros is one country in Wheel of Time, Caerhyn.
Oh yeah,
because Caerhyn has I'm gonna try and pronounce this on my own. Diaz de Mar, the Game of Houses, and the entirety of Westeros is that one country, and it gives you an idea of how fleshed out Jordan's world really is. Nothing against Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, and George R.R. Martin, but his entire main world is encapsulated in just one country in Wheel of Time. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Anyway, I had fun. I think we did a good job here. I think Bill may let us have extra food and rations for one more day.
Sweet. I'm hungry.
All right. So, guys, we are going to see you later as we make our way down the Arenal. Take care, guys. Have a good week.
See ya.
Thank you for listening. If you want to continue the conversation, tap into the One Power and contact us on Twitter at TavirenPod. You can also contact Bill at Matunica and Rich at HaleBlue1569. You can also reach Rob at his website, digging, D-I-G-G-I-N, diggingdeepsports.com. And, as always, we will see you at the Wine Spring Inn.
Here's to another great podcast, gentlemen. Cheers! Ah, damn it, Bill! Not again! Brad, can you get another round of pints for me and the boys? Yes, again. No, Bill this time. Thank you, Brad. Much appreciated. Now, where were we, men? Actually, I believe it's Rich's turn at the Stones table. What's that you say? No, I don't think old Sen will have that ready.
Hello, friends. This is Troidal Power, host of the Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, a podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. And I'm inviting you to listen to Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, a podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. You can find it and a lot of other weird shows at probablywork.com.
I'm not deep-throating it yet.
Oh, I'm recording. You shouldn't have said that.
Sorry.
I was going to go with the Bill Mill breastfeeding, but you kind of trumped that right there.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
At Probably Work for more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.